Hey everyone, have you ever stopped to really consider how the words you use
Yeah.
and, the way you put them together might actually be shaping who you are? Or maybe how other people see you? It's like a wild thought, isn't it? Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something really cool, language and identity. We're going to explore how the languages we speak do way more than just let us, talk to each other. They influence our sense of self, shape our culture, and totally change how we connect with the world and each other. So our mission
Boom.
today, we're digging into our source materials, a bunch of notes from Social Studies 4, to pull out those surprising facts and connections about language that make you go, huh,
Uh-huh.
huh. We want to give you that shortcut to feeling really clued in on this amazing topic.
Yeah, it's actually pretty mind-blowing when you realize language isn't just communication. It's like a living part of who we are, tangled up with our thoughts, our feelings. It's often working its magic, kind of quietly under the surface, shaping our whole reality.
Okay, right, let's unpack that. When we say language, what are we really talking about? It's more than just words on a page or sounds, right?
That's a great starting point because, yeah, it's easy to think it's just vocabulary, but our source, Social Studies 4, points out it's this really complex system. It's got words, sure, but also grammar, structure, and this whole shared understanding of meaning. It's how we share ideas, beliefs, feelings, all that stuff. And crucially, it's how we connect with our communities, our cultures. The source puts it perfectly, I think. Language shapes how we think as much as how we speak.
Whoa, shapes how we think. That's
Yeah.
that's big. So it's not just what we can say, but how our brains are actually, processing stuff. I mean, sometimes just figuring out grammar feels like it's rewiring my brain. But seriously, does the structure of a language, I don't know, having gender for objects or different ways of talking about time, does that actually nudge our thoughts differently?
Oh, absolutely. It taps into something linguists call linguistic relativity. Hmm. Basically, the language you speak can influence how you see and categorize the world. Like, some languages might not have separate he and she pronouns, or they might have really complex ways to show politeness that just don't exist in English. Our source notes this can kind of subtly change how we think about, say, social roles or even who we are. Or think about snow. Some languages, like certain Inuit languages, have tons of words for snow. It's not just a bigger vocabulary list. It suggests they might actually perceive snow in more detailed ways than someone who only has one or two words for it.
Huh. So it's not just about having more labels, but it could change how you actually see the world. That's pretty amazing that a grammar rule or just having more words for something could filter your reality. Wow. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about something super personal. Your first language, your mother tongue. We all have one, maybe more than one. But why is that first one so special? What makes it different from languages we learn later?
Well, it's more than just being the first one you learn. It often creates this kind of neurological and emotional foundation for everything else. It's the language you're usually soaked in at home right from the start. It carries your earliest values, your family traditions. It really frames how you first see the world. And connecting that back, this early exposure isn't just learning words. It's building these core thinking pathways and really deep emotional links. It's almost the operating system for your identity, influencing how you feel and what just feels normal.
So it's like it wires your brain in a specific way from the get-go.
Yeah.
That first language is kind of
Yeah.
like a warm blanket made of your earliest memories. All those sounds, feelings, hearing your parents, lullabies, inside jokes, it all sinks in really deep emotionally. Does that mean it's harder then? Or just different to express certain really deep feelings in a second language?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have that same wiring.
That's a really sharp question. And yeah, for a lot of people, it is different. The emotional weight tied to words learned in your mother tongue, especially for core things like love or sadness or happiness, it's incredibly strong. Other languages give you functional words, sure, but they might not hit that same deep emotional note. Our source touches on this. It suggests your mother tongue isn't just a word list, it's like a living library of your heritage. Think about Zahra's Farsi from the source material. For her, it's not just words, it's family stories, cultural sayings, childhood memories. It's the language of her heart, her humor, her family's past.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's not just finding the right word, but the word that feels right, the one that echoes with all that personal history. Okay, so that connection is deep, but what happens when we add new languages? Does it just give us more ways to talk, or does it change us more fundamentally? This is where it gets really interesting, I think, especially with English being everywhere. What kinds of doors open up?
Oh, loads of doors. Each new language brings this incredible range of opportunities. Our source points out a few key things. First, education. You get access to way more knowledge reading original texts, research papers, without relying on translations that might, miss something. It also lets you connect with people globally, bridge cultural divides, understand different perspectives. You can get different kinds of humor, understand different social cues, appreciate art differently. It's huge. And, looking ahead, jobs. It can seriously boost your career options in our connected world. The core idea from the source is really powerful. Each new language can give us a new lens to understand the world.
A new lens, I like that. It's not just adding vocabulary. It's like getting a software upgrade for your brain, letting you see things in new colors, maybe, or from different angles. It's not just translating. It's getting a whole new way to understand things. Does that mean some languages are, like, inherently better at describing certain things?
Which is different.
Is there a danger of missing out if we only see the world through one lens?
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's not about better, it's about different. Each one offers a unique view. Think of it like tools, right? If you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Add a screwdriver, a wrench. Suddenly you can tackle problems in much more nuanced ways. Languages are like that. Each gives you a different set of mental tools. You might grasp concepts or subtleties in one language that aren't as obvious in another. It boosts what psychologists call cognitive flexibility, being able to switch between different ways of thinking. So, yeah, you could argue there's a risk of a more limited view if you stick to just one language, because your thoughts are kind of guided by the tools you have available.
Okay, wow. So given that deep link to culture, identity, even how we think, it makes you wonder, right? Does switching languages also switch how we feel? Have you ever felt that? Like, okay, direct question for you listening. Have you ever noticed how speaking different languages can actually make you feel different?
That's a super interesting area. And yeah, our sources definitely get into it. Languages can absolutely tweak our emotions, even our behavior sometimes. In one language, maybe your mother tongue, you might feel this deep comfort, this sense of belonging, like being wrapped up in something familiar. The words carry all this shared history. In another language, one you learned later perhaps, you might feel a bit more formal, or maybe more polite, or even a little detached sometimes. The words don't have that same deep-seated emotional connection, if that makes sense. The source gives a great example. Saying, I love you, in Farsi versus English may feel like two different experiences. It's not just swapping words. It feels different emotionally.
Wow. Yeah, that example hits home. Okay, think about a really strong feeling you've had, like total joy after winning something, or real sadness, or maybe just being super frustrated. Would that feeling itself, would it be exactly the same if you said it out loud in a different language? Would you feel it differently? It really makes you stop and think about that connection between the words and your inner world, doesn't it? It's like the language itself could change the volume or maybe even the color of the emotion. So, okay, what do those mean for you listening right now? Let's pause and think critically for a sec. We'll use some questions from our source material. First one, just for you to chew on. Do you think language influences how you see the world? Just mull that over. Okay, now let's take it a step further. How might speaking more than one language actually change your identity? Does it mean you suddenly have like multiple personalities?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a question lots of bilingual folks think about. It's probably less about totally separate identities and more about having a richer, maybe more complex, expanded sense of who you are. Each language comes with its own context, right? Different cultural bits and pieces, different ways to express humor or feelings. So speaking multiple languages can feel like different parts of your personality come forward depending on which language you're using at the moment. You might feel, I don't know, more direct in one or more reserved in another just because of the sort of social rules baked into that language. It's dynamic.
It makes total sense. Like
Yeah.
different outfits, maybe, but it's still you wearing them. Okay, and that brings us to another really big, almost kind of sad question from the sources. Can losing a language mean losing part of a culture?
Oof, yeah. This is where it gets really significant. If we step back and look at the big picture, losing a language, it isn't just about losing words. It can absolutely mean losing a chunk of culture. Sometimes a piece of humanity's shared story. Think about it, traditional stories, history passed down orally, unique poems, songs, even like knowledge about nature, about plants that's often tied up in specific languages. If the language fades away, those unique ways of seeing and talking about the world can just disappear. It means losing family traditions, losing a particular way of remembering history, losing those specific, sometimes untranslatable ways a community has of feeling and expressing things. It's a huge loss for cultural identity and diversity.
Wow. Yeah, that really drives it home. Language isn't just a tool. It's like a living archive of how people experience the world. It's not just words. It's history, understanding, creativity, all wrapped up. Okay, our sources had this neat thought experiment idea. Imagine this. You write a short paragraph about yourself in your home language. Then you translate it into English, maybe something simple like why you love skateboarding or playing video games or whatever. Would the meaning feel exactly the same? Would one version maybe feel more you, more powerful?
Right. And what's really cool is thinking about why one might feel more personal. It often goes back to those deep roots we talked about. Your home language is tangled up with your family, your culture, your actual memories, how you learn to express feelings as a kid. It's not just the words themselves, it's all the weight they carry, personal weight, cultural weight. Maybe there's an idiom, a saying in your first language that perfectly captures something, but translating it just false flag, doesn't have the same punch. Or maybe a word triggers a specific family memory or an inside joke that gives it an emotional kick that a technically correct translation just can't match.
Yeah, exactly. It's the feeling behind the words. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive into social studies 4, the message seems crystal clear, doesn't it? Language is profoundly shaped not just how we talk, but our identity, our sense of belonging. They're like these intricate threads connecting us to family, traditions, culture, history, memory, and yeah, how we feel and understand everything.
Absolutely. And that final statement from our source really nails it. Being bilingual or multilingual is not just a skill, it's part of who you are. It's not just something extra you can do. It fundamentally shapes a part of you, how you think, how you feel, how you connect. Which leads us to a final thought for you to carry with you, maybe think about later today or this week. It's from the exit ticket question in our source. How does language shape your identity, culture, and the way you connect with others? Indy nil. Really sit with that one. Maybe even jot down some thoughts. Think about your own language journey.
What an amazing trip through the power of language today. Seriously fascinating stuff. Thanks so much for joining us on this exploration. Keep noticing how language works in your own life and all around you, because understanding language, well, it's a big part of understanding ourselves. We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Hey, everyone.